So thank you so much for joining us, Vicky. It's really good to sort of refresh our minds. And Vicky and I have been talking quite a lot over lockdown about like different stuff that we want to do with yellow and how we can improve our education. And Vicky's been working with me on producing new documents as well. So there's loads of really good stuff that's going to be coming up. Emma's been helping me as well. Emma Beth, I think she's on here as well. So there's been quite a few different things going on that we've been working behind the scenes. But when we were talking last week, I think it was, I sort of said, it feels like now that my mind started working a little bit differently because of what we've been talking about, which is really interesting. So I said we definitely should do this when we are going to do like a live with you. So I'll stop talking and I'll let you sort of explain where we got to with it.
Hi guys. So today I wanted to share with you my top 5 to knows about yellow. For me, my journey started with yellow in my salon in July 2019. And for me, these were the key facts that I wanted to share with my girls when we first launched the product.
Amazing. Okay, right. Whilst you just talk about it, I'm just going to try and share my screen because we've put together, I've jazzed it up a little bit in the quick time that you gave it to me.
Thank you.
So, I have, let me know when you can see my screen.
I can see your screen.
Amazing. So this document will be available afterwards, and I'll put this in the Facebook files. You will also, I can email you all as well with the recording and this document as well. So it's some really useful tips. So I'll hand over to you, Vicky.
Thank you. So my number one top tip to know about yellow is it's not only a permanent colour, but it can also be transformed into a tone on tone using the tone on tone creator. So for the guys who don't know what tone and tone creator is, it's a really smart additive that when added to the permanent colour, it transforms it into a demi colour. By doing so, what's inside it targets the alkalinity of the colour, reducing the pH level and transforming it. Contained in that tone on tone creator is your tannin citrus fruits and your yellow crystals. And not only do they lower the pH of the product, it also gives a more gentle colouring process. One of the top tips that's actually not on there, which I want to say to you, is it's really important when you use a tone on tone creator that once you've put your product into the bowl, before you add your peroxide, that you actually mix in the tone on tone creator with the cream together and then put your peroxide in on top of that. If you don't do this, what will happen, as soon as you put your peroxide in your bowl with your cream, the peroxide will start developing the yellow permanent into a permanent colour, not a tone on tone colour. So that's a really top tip to remember as well.
I think also with that one, Vicky, just something that I've learned as well is, you know, use questions, do you count the tone on tone creator in with your mixture? No, because you put your colour in there, the tone on tone creator is working to lower the pH, and then you add your peroxide into that.
After. So when would I use a tone on tone? I would use it for the following services. So you can use it to tone any pre-lighting tears so that your highlights, your balayage, your freehand, your global. To refresh after any other chemical surface. So for instance, if you were doing a smoothing complex in the salon, as you know, sometimes it can change the tone. So I would use it to refresh the colour there. You can also blend up to white hair coverage as well using your tone on tone.
So sorry to interrupt you. This is quite interesting, the blending bit. I mean, we've saying 70%, but I know we've got a lot more blending on that, but we're saying 70%. But I think this is a really interesting, it more stains the hair rather than you get that sort of like full coverage. And that's, I've swapped, apart from my face frame, that's what I've swapped to at the back of my hair. And I just feel that it controls my undercoat and my deposit of pigment and all those things that make my hair glow. It's a lot better. So I think this is going to be becoming a more popular service coming back this time. You know, people have been getting it more and more extended regrowths, aren't they? So they don't necessarily need to have that blanket coverage.
I agree with you 100% now, definitely. I would also use it to refresh colour on the end. So if you want to do a permanent colour on your retouch on your roots, and then I would always try to use the 5-file and to refresh the colour to take through. And also to add any new tones to natural hair. So as you know, you're not going to get any lift by using the 5-file and tone on tone. But if you wanted to inject any copper tones or any red tones, you could do so as well.
Amazing. And again, that goes to the, sorry, I was a bit too quick with that then. That also goes with it's nice for people that are first starting to have colour, or they're noticing those first little signs of white hairs. That then this is a nice service, non-committal service to you.
Definitely, 100%. So how would you mix your tone on tone? So the mixture ratio is 10:1. So for 10 grams of colour, you would then do your 1 pump or your 1 ml of your product.
Okay, if anybody has any questions on this, and we'll jump out a bit at each section just to discuss, and we can sort of answer any of those as we're going along. Now with the mixing ratio you put here with the 10:2, you can always go up to 10:5 if you really needed to. So if you didn't want to shift the natural base, or if you got super porous hair, because we know that porous hair sucks the colour in and it spits it back out again. So we don't want to be sort of putting more and more damage on the hair. So you can go up to 10:5 with that one, and that gives you a loads of time to apply in. You know, sometimes when you're applying at the base, and then especially after like a bleach application, something, if you've got thick hair, by the time you've done like the back section, the front section's kind of taken, and you just don't have the time, so you can adjust your mixing ratios for that one.
Just to add to that, Jo, when I'm doing any tone at the backwash, I always tend to start the back anyway. I don't know about you, just in case you do need to get that tone off quickly. We've all been there. So we always start
back, yeah.
Always start the back. Always start the back.
Let's stop the share a second, because I can't see I can see if we've got any Q&A. So is there any questions or anything popping up? Not that I can see. Let me just see if there's any. Let's stop the share just in case. No questions. So if you do have any questions at all, you can pop them into the Q&A at the bottom of your camera, of your screen. No, okay, that's fine. Okay, so just in case there's anybody wanting to do that, you can pop them into there, and then we will deal with that. Okay, so number 2.
So for me, I actually love this ingredient. So this ingredient is actually exclusive to Yellow. It's called Alotrix. So what is Alotrix? So aloe vera. So by using aloe vera, the hair feels soft and silky. We also have wheat protein in there. So when we think of protein, we know that that's going to strengthen the hair. And it also is rich in amino acids. And this helps maintain the hair's condition throughout the colouring process. Also, you have your UV filters in there to help protect against the hair natural lighting elements, such as the sun, the wind, chlorine, as we know.
This, the wind. We didn't know the wind does that. Well, I didn't know the wind does this.
Yeah. And also, lastly, we have our argan oil. So it's rich in omega-3 and 6 and vitamin E. And what this does, it helps restore the hair's vitality and gives the hair silkiness. And if the guys that are using Yellow already, you know that their hair feels literally lovely and silky and soft. You get that amazing shine from Yellow time after time.
Amazing. I'm just going to stop the share because we've got a couple of questions. Does tone on tone bring down the alkalinity more? So tone on tone, yes, it brings down the alkalinity, which the alkaline is what opens up the cuticle, you know. So the more alkaline the product, the more the cuticles are open, which means that the further the product can travel into the hair, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you, Vicky?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
What that actually does, it lowers the pH, so it stops the openness of the cuticle, so it doesn't travel further in. So the more you reduce the alkalinity of the product, the less further it will travel, the less far it will travel into the cortex. So if you did do 10 to 5, it would just be sitting on the outside of the cuticle. Whereas if you did 10 to 1, it would be further into the cuticle and slightly into the cortex. I hope that makes sense. Hayley's asked a question, is 1 pump of tone and tone equal to 1 gram? Technically, yes.
Yes.
However, I always recommend to measure, because the pump can get towards the end of the bottle, your spring can get a little bit looser, so it can sort of become pump 1.5 or something like that. So I would always recommend to do that. Okay. Amazing. Right, let me just share again. Hold on. Okay. Okay, on to number 3.
Fantastic. So we have 5 different peroxides in the yellow family, and it's really important to remember when you're using yellow that you actually use the yellow peroxide, because not only have you got allotrix in the colour, it's also contained in the peroxide as well. So you have to maintain the hair's condition throughout, it's best to use the 2 together. So I'm just going to go through what we have. So we have a 5 volt, which I said we use for the tone and tone. Then we have your 10 volt. So you get 100% white hair coverage with this, but you get no levels of lift. So it's really important, again, that you analyze the hair correctly and make sure it's 100% white hair. Because if you've got 80% to 20% of the dark hair is nothing's going to happen to that hair. So it's really important. It's 100%. Then we have our 20 volume, which gives us 1 level of lift. Then our 30 volume, it's our 2 levels, our 40 volume, which is 3 levels. And then by using, you also can use the energy series with a 40 volume as well. And 4 levels of lift using 40 volt with energy series and the 00S as well.
So Vicky, we had, it's quite interesting because we went through this process, me and you, and 40 volume on the scalp sounds super scary, yeah?
Yeah.
How did you feel about that when I started talking about it?
I mean, I must admit, at first I was like, there's no way I'm using more than 20 volt on the scalp. I can't believe it. But literally, guys, honestly, it's so gentle. And I think because the allotrix is in there, it's so gentle on the scalp. It's really conditioning. And please don't be afraid to use 40 volume whatsoever.
And there's a few things that make that better. So we've got low alkalinity, which we've talked about, so we're not opening the cuticles. We've got micropigment delivery of the color itself, so the way it travels into the cortex, into the center of the hair, is that it goes in really tiny little molecules. Once they're inside the cortex, they join together. They're almost like magnetized, to make it simple for you. So they're just joined together and they form like these long caterpillars, which means that it can't travel back out of the hair. So the color is the thing that actually gives you the tone of what you are doing to the hair. The peroxide gives you the lift, is the fuel that takes you up the color chart. So for instance, if you was to use a 20 volt on your client's hair, but you were trying to lift 3 levels, then you will get either a transparent color, or you just won't get the result that you're looking for, because the hair hasn't had enough fuel to get up the charts. I cannot stress how important this peroxide chat is, because this is the key. If you don't have your peroxide right for the hair, then you're not going to get the color that you're looking for. So you've got to really think about, if you need 3 levels of lift or 3 levels of lift, you do need that 40 volt. So if you're a 7, let's say you're 6, so 7, 8, 9. If you want to get up to a 9, I can do that on my fingers. If you wanted to get up to a 9, you do need to use 40 volt. If you use 20 volt with it, you're only going to get up to a 7.
Yeah.
So,
also add to that, Jo, as well, to remember that obviously I put the development times next to it, but it's really important with yellow that you remember it actually deposits its tone in the last 10 minutes. So we will be there again in a rush when our client, we're running behind and we think, get it off now. But with yellow, if you rinse it off too soon, you won't get the full completion of the tone going into the hair.
Yeah, that's a really top tip. It is really important to make sure that you do that. There's so many times where I get people that will contact me and say, I'm not sort of getting the result that I'm looking for, I'm not getting the white hair coverage that I'm looking for, I'm not getting the tone that I was expecting. And some of it, I mean, let's all, hand on heart, we're all busy, and when you're in the salon, I know what it's like, and sometimes you can do things and think, oh, just take that off now, it looks about right, and but it really does need that full development time.
Yeah, 100% it does.
Okay.
Thank you. So I'm just going to run through the mixing with you. So for your demi, it's a 1:2 ratio. So for example, so if you use 30 mils of colour, it's 60 mils of your peroxide. For your yellow permanent, it's 1:1.5. So it's 30 mils of colour, it's 45 mils of peroxide. And for your energy series, it's a 1:2. So for example, 30 mils of colour, 60 mils of peroxide.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go.
Just want to sort of recap everything that we put together. The staff room poster, it's all on there. The back of your colour chart is all on there. So if you haven't got any of those tools that you need for when you're going back to work, please just shout out. If you're a Wonderful Brands customer, you can go straight to your representative. I know lots of them are on here today watching the live as well. Or if you're with a different wholesaler, you can contact them. All of these resources and tools are available for them.
Yeah, perfect. And I'll just say about mixing again, we use scours in my salon to weigh our product. So again, it's really important that you do weigh your product correctly. I'm not just guessing in the bowl.
Yep, 100%. First question, have you weighed, have you measured? And if you've done all of that, then we're onto a good start, aren't we?
Yeah, good colour result. So I'm just going to recap on the white hair coverage rules. I know this is a big one for a lot of people. So if it's less than 50% white hair, you would follow the rules of colouring. If it's more than 50% white hair, you would mix half a core natural golden basic. You'd have to make sure that you use the correct peroxide on your client, and always ensure that you apply plenty of product. By doing so, when I say apply plenty of product, you actually place the colour on the root. So you're not painting it, because if you're painting the product, you're painting it on and off. Just making sure you actually place the product on the hair, and then develop for maximum development time. So I know there's an option between 35 and 40 minutes. I would always opt for the 40 minutes.
So we've, in the previous lockdown, you will find a white hair coverage guide in the files. If you're struggling to find that in on Facebook, just tag me, Vicky, Emma, any of the educators in, and we'll direct you to where it is. It's a really good PDF document that explains this with a few case studies in there. So I know that's just a quick review of it, but there is a lot more resources that's available. Let's have a look at the questions, because I've seen another one pop up. Let's see. So the more tone on tone added would help to create less shift. Exactly. Yes, Claire. So if you wanted to, let's say you've got, going back to tone on tone, obviously, if you've got highlights, if you've got a virgin head of hair and you've got highlights done all the way through it, and you want to tone that, but you don't want to bump the base, shift the base, alter the base, whatever you want to call it. If you did 10 to 5, then you are not going to alter the natural hair. Okay, if you did it 10 to 1, you're going to get a slight shift. So 10 to 2 to 10 to 5 is where you'd be. Now, please bear in mind, when you are doing something like that, you are going to, that will alter your development time. It's not going to be, if you put a 10 to 5 mixing ratio with your tone on tone creator, it's going to take longer to deposit the tone and to sort of get rid of those unwanted, neutralize unwanted tones as well. So bear that in mind. But yes, you can, not a problem at all. Okay, carry on sharing. Okay, we should be back.
Perfect. So another thing what I love about the yellow family is the range of colours that we've got. So for me as a salon, when we first got yellow, it was we went from quite a big selection, our old brand, to yellow, so it's a lot smaller. But what I love that all the colours are actually all intermixable, so you can actually make bespoke colours for your actual client. The only thing that's not intermixable is your energy series with that. So you can really have a play around with the palette and really customise some really lovely colours for your client.
Yeah, cool. This is a really nice guide that you've put together here, of just a sort of like a glance, and I think this could be a good printable one to take back in the salon. if you've got some of your team members that are not on here, it's just a really nice one to do as a recap for when you're going back to work. It's a great little resource that Vicky's put together.
I've just put underneath, obviously, but obviously looking at the palette at the moment, what is ideal for neutralising. As we know, the 2-1 will neutralise your yellow orange. And just everyone asks us about mushroom sort of tones. So I've said that the icy blondes are your muted mushrooms, like your 637s and 737s. And if you guys, if you wanted to make them lighter, then you could use your 000 to get that extra lift there as well.
So mushroom was a new one for me, and I couldn't quite, it took me quite some time to visualize what mushroom was, but yeah, that's definitely, I feel like now's the time to say, so I'm going to be launching another 2 webinars. I'm going to do another refresher just before we go back to work. And then also on March the 15th, I've got a new webinar that's coming out because we've got 5 new colour tones that are coming. Woo! I'm so excited for these ones. We teased you with them last year, but there are 5 new colours that are coming, and I'm going to do a reveal on those when on March the 15th, Monday, March the 15th. I haven't actually sort of tried them yet. So it's going to be new for me, but I've got dolls' heads ready, and as soon as they arrive, I will be sort of sharing that with you on March the 15th. I'll share on the Facebook group. Yeah, so there's 2 new colour families. I'll share it now, but I'll be able to show the tones better. So we've got a 0.17, so that's super interesting. So that kind of icy tones, and I think that's going to be nice for those mushroom colours as well. That's why so we've got a 717 and a 917, so that's super exciting. And then we've got another new family, which is a 22, which has got a 422 and a 522, which is like a sort of deep violets, purples, which I know you've all been asking me for, so that's really exciting. And then the final one is 844 plus, which is a bright copper. And that's really going to be amazing, and you can use that for an intensifier as well. So a lot of people have always been asking me, why have you only got a red intensifier? We can have a bright copper as well. So we're getting a little bit of love on that. So 917 sounds lush. That's exactly what we said as well. And looking forward to the 844 plus. Yeah, I can't honestly, I'm so excited for these. They've not arrived in the UK yet. They're ordered, they're on the way, and as soon as I have it, I will be sharing that. So there's going to be some teasers coming on that on social media as well. So yeah, lots of love for the bright copper. That's good. Okay, all right, let's carry on. My mouse is not behaving itself. Here we go. And this, I love how you put this together with, like, so the what they actually are, and it's good about the eliminations as well. So you can kind of like, okay, so I want to sort of like remove unwanted yellow tones, and then I want to go in with a muted mushroom blonde. I love it. This is brilliant. Thank you so much. I do want to ask you about the red intensifier, because your hair's looking very red today, Vicky.
Thank you. Freshly done this morning for you.
So this is something I'd never tested before, but you've done it for me. Tell us about what your colour is today, not excluding the other bit, which is going to be another secret.
So I actually have 6,000, so the 6,000 red intensifier on its own with 30 volume on my roots.
Amazing. And you've got, what percentage of white hair have you got?
So at the front of my hair, I've got 100% white hair coverage. So I don't know if you can see on the camera, I've literally got complete coverage there just by using 6,030 volume. So there's no base in there whatsoever. And then on the ends, I just refresh the 6,000 in the 5 volume. So there's no need to put the 30 volume through the ends of your hair. So just the 5 vol through the ends.
That was, you were so excited, you phoned me up.
I did. That's correct. And I think, as we know, as colourists, and I'm one of these, I'm all about breaking the rules. So no one's ever said that you could use a 6,000 on its own, but obviously I've tried that today, and as you can see, it's really bright. So really have a play about with the colour palette. Don't be scared to do so.
Oh, so Rachel's saying she loves this colour. She uses loads on her own, so that's fab. That's
Yeah.
good. Rachel, yes, we will be getting new colour charts, which is also really exciting. I can't lockdown, COVID, everything has ruined 2020 because we were supposed to be having the new colours and colour charts last year. So yes, they will be brand new colour charts to when we launch for with the 5 new colours. They'll come on a little small one until the new colour charts comes, which I think is going to be about June, July time. So super excited.
Exciting.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, so lastly, what I've done for you guys is I get this question a lot from my girls in salon, from other people's. How do you know when to use the energy series, when to use 7 levels, and when to use 9 levels? So what I've put together for you is a little chart just so you can have a glimpse at when you would use it and when you would not use it.
This is perfect. This is really good.
So if you look at, sorry, Joe, sorry.
Go on, carry on.
So if you look at I'll go through each section. So the first thing to look at is the ingredients. So previously we spoke about the Adtrix and how amazing it is. So that not only is that in your energy series, but it's also your 7 and your 9 levels as well, which means you're going to get optimum conditioning throughout the whole colour process.
Perfect. Okay.
Also contained in your 7 levels and 9 levels is your quinoa. So quinoa is going to really strengthen and protect again when you're doing your lightening process. So it goes for the lift. So for your energy series, you get 4 and 5 levels of lift with your energy series. Okay. With your 7, you would get 4 to 7 levels of lift. You could obviously below that as well, but up to 7 levels with your 7 levels, and up to 9 levels of lift with your 9 levels.
So this is something again we've been talking about over the last few weeks, and these are manufacturers' instructions. So these are the basics. So we're saying to you, this is what in theory should, if you've got a neutral deposit of pigment in your hair and you've got the perfect undercoat that just seamlessly lifts out the hair, this is the rules. However, we know the rules sometimes don't work if you have someone with a lot of red in their hair, for instance. You're gonna lose some of your lifting power to get through the red. Is that right, Vicky?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. That's why it's really key and important that you really analyze the hair correctly before any colouring process.
Yeah, it really is, because that's one of the things that I get, questions I get. I had a question, I hope the lady's on here today. So I had a question this morning that come in, and she said that her niece is a level 6 and she wants to get to a level 9. So in my head I'm already sort of adding up the peroxide and everything about what she'd be using. And she's like, what colour would you recommend to get her to a level 9 that's not too warm? And I kind of was like, it's not as simple as that. It really isn't. I find it very hard to do this on without, one, seeing the client, 2, seeing the target tone that she's looking for, and without actually seeing the hair, because there's so many variables that you know, if they're, you know, an excessive yellow, for instance, that's going to take time to lift through that excessive yellow. So it's not as simple as that. So I think what I'm trying to say is just, this is your basics. Your next level to get you to sort of where you want to be is understanding the other bits. And last lockdown, Vicky, you did an amazing live for us where we talked about that. And those videos, if you've not watched any of these yet, if you head over to the Yellow Instagram account, you will be able to sort of go into the bio. So I will show you, because someone said to me the other week, I don't know how to get to it. So I was like, okay, this is a good one to show you. Okay, so here is the Yellow page, the Instagram page. So if you click, if you can see, it says in my bio here, there is something called Linktree. And if I click on there, all of these links just appear. So if you click on any of these, it will take you through that one was to register for Air Education. Let me find you a video. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, so tone on tone creator how-to video. So if you click that, that will take you straight through into the Instagram account, and you can watch a quick video with me. Glad I'm not wearing that top today. So there's loads of resources that are in there. So if you've got somebody in your salon that's maybe like, oh, what do I do about peroxides? Send them over to the Yellow Professional Instagram account. Hit the link in my bio, and you will be able to find all of that information on there. So everything that we've discussed today is on there. Sorry, it's a good one to share.
Yes, definitely. So with regards to your oxygens with your energy series, you'd only use 40 volume with your energy series. With your 7 and your 9, you can use anything from 10 up to 40 volume. So remember what Joe said earlier, obviously you've got the product that's going to lift, the oxygen's going to help the power to lift the product. So just be aware, obviously, if you want to get someone from a base 6 to a 9, I probably wouldn't start at 10 vol, I'd probably start at 20 volume, because it will lose its power in the bowl if you do so.
Cool.
And then with your techniques, with your energy series, you can use it as a global application, and you can also use that on highlights. I put foil or mesh. And then with your 7 levels, you can do a global, highlights, freehand, and a gentle cleanse at the backwash. And then with your 9 levels, you could do a global, you could do your highlights and your freehand balayage. Perfect.
So we have, as part of our Yellow education that we are just launching, we are going to have a few new courses which might be interesting to you guys. There is going to be a white hair coverage course. It's coverage and blending. So this covers both of those things that we've been talking about how to get the perfect 100% blanket coverage, or how to sort of blend the hair. We've got some really nice new techniques for softer grow outs as well, and just thinking about white hair blending and coverage a little bit differently. So that's the first course. And then we've got the Blonde Ambition course, where this one is going to be really interesting, because that scenario that I shared with you earlier, where she's a 6 and she wants to get to a 9, all those factors that we need to know, which is not just like we're here and we want to get to here. We need to know the deposit of pigment, we need to know the undercoat. There's so many different variables in there, and that's going to tackle all of that. So this will be your foolproof blonde color. So if your client wants to, you've had problems with an energy series where they're always too yellow or too orange, there is a reason why, and that's where that course is going to sort of teach you how to do that. Okay, sorry, I'm hijacking for you, Vicky.
No, you're absolutely fine. So like I said earlier, guys, deposit in this tone, the energy series development time is between 50 to 55. Personally myself, I would always leave it for the 55. I would never rinse it at 50, just to make sure that tone is really deposited in the hair. Regards to your 7 and 9, I put up to 15 minutes. So especially in my salon, what we do, we always check our highlights and mesh every 10 to 15 minutes. And when they're ready, we will remove them from the hair. Because obviously, if you imagine if you're doing, like me and Joe spoke about this, if you're doing a set of full head lights and you've started, so your bottom lights have been in for an hour and a half, and then you finished, you're not going to develop it for another 15 minutes, because obviously that's you're over processing the hair by doing so.
Yeah, and it's and again, we've all been there, and you can use different peroxides going up the hair and stuff. So yeah, it's really good to get used to all of these different like levels that you can get from it. Perfect.
Definitely. And that was my last one for you guys.
Right, we've got a question. Let me just stop sharing my screen and we'll go to questions then. Do we email you to sign up to the course? Don't you worry, I will be telling everybody when these courses are available to book on. So I'm sure most of you are on the Yellow Facebook professional closed group. If you're not, head over to there. There's loads of resources on there anyway. But no, just I will definitely be letting you know that when they're ready. I was kind of waiting for Bojo's announcement, you know, which was brilliant, by the way. You know, we're all very, very excited on that. But now it's kind of giving me a little bit more, right, okay, I feel like we know what we're doing. So we will do some online classes, and we will plan in some face-to-face later on in the year, which sounds really exciting to see people again. I'm so excited. So has anybody got any more questions for us, either in the chat box or in the Q&A? I'll give you, there's one come up in the chat. Where's this one? Got stuff opening up all over the place. Chat. Oh, just the love for the 844. Wow, I think I need to order more 844. This is like, everyone's super excited about that one. Anybody got any questions? So that was just like a super quick recap. I will email all of you this PDF that Vicky's put together, and it's a really good just refresher tool with your guys and girls in the salon, just to sort of go back over before we reopen. There are 2 more lives that will be coming up, so there will be a full refresher where I'll do it monthly, like I was doing before we started to lock down, which basically takes you through all the different colours, the peroxides, the other colours, the other things like the protective oil, silver pigments, tone on tone creator, all of those kind of hero products that we do. I go into more details on that one, so I can share that with you as well. And then we've got the new colour launches, which is great. So thank you so much for joining us. If no one else has any questions, we will let you go, and it's lovely to see you all again.
Thank you so much today. Lovely seeing you.
Thank you so much. Thanks everybody. Lovely to see you all.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Vicky.
Bye. See you later. Bye.